Okay. We are live. It is Thursday. And we are doing tissue paper art once again. I don't know if we're going to finish today, but we'll see how far we get. So, yeah, I hope everybody's week has been going well. Is this our color? This is our color. At least I believe it is. It kind of looks right. Yeah, that's our color. Alright. Yeah, so hope everybody's week's been going well. And don't you know, I finished early to deal with the doggo, and within 5 minutes of me stopping, he was in his bed and asleep. I was like, are you kidding me? Yep. That's our Zuzu. Cranky old man. So I think he was just mad that I wasn't in bed with him. And then he didn't even sleep with me. He didn't get in bed with me until like 8 o'clock in the morning. The husband had to go somewhere. And I woke up to Zuzu standing over top of me, staring me in the face and looking at the blanket and trying to paw the blanket. I'm like, what, you want under it? And then he climbed under. I'm like, really? All this time that you could have been laying with me. And you're not gonna lay with me until it's getting near time to get up. Okay. I will never understand that boy. Alright, so we are going to pick up where we left off. If you have any, like, little edges that are kind of sticking up in the air, you can just take your brush with your glue and just kind of glide it under them, and then come back on top and just kind of, like, sandwich it down into there. Kind of like a sloppy decoupage. Kinda. But that will get those pieces to sit down and ensure that they are not gonna go anywhere. It rained off and on most of the day. It wasn't too bad though. I was concerned we were gonna have spicy skies all day, but we didn't. Didn't have any at all. It was just rain. But of course, His Royal Highness was displeased that it was raining. And the husband wasn't feeling well anyway, so it's like, yeah, no, we're not going. It finally stopped drizzling around, I don't know, it was after dinner. And the husband felt guilty, so he's like, what's it doing outside? I'm like, you already told him we weren't going, and he's like, yeah, but he's running around on the bed like a maniac. So he weaseled a working place adventure out of us, and he got to see his one friend that we kept missing. I hadn't even realized he was there. He must have, I think he was there with somebody else in their vehicle, because his normal vehicle wasn't there. He has a very distinct vehicle, so we can tell when he's there unless he was parked on a different side, but There's only like 2 other cars there. Most people had gotten, I guess, discouraged by the weather earlier in the day. There was a couple people out and about, though. Our schedule's just been kind of all over the place, so we haven't really been catching his friend. Okay, so we got our tacky glue down. And, you know, not a super thick layer, but not super thin either, because we need some work time with it here. And we've got our desired color of tissue paper all pulled out here. Trying to find one in the length that I am happy with. And we are just going to gently lay everybody down into the glue and push them down and then up against the other pieces that are there, just to kind of get a good smushing. Like, we want them smushed in there, but we don't really want them piled up on each other. Like, you don't want to be like layering them underneath of each other. You don't want to smoosh it that hard. Don't get too carried away. A little bit of smushing though. That's fine. Alright. These guys put in there. Now, here's the question. Do I want to go down or do I want to go over? I mean, doesn't fully matter. Guess we'll come down here. I swear, rained most of the day, and somebody was across the street with their fancy landscaping lawnmower cutting the grass at the business, and I don't think it was a business landscaper. I'm just like, guy, y'all usually do this on Friday, number one. Last time I checked, it's not Friday. It seems like there's always somebody different over there doing it, too. There's like multiple people doing it. There's like, okay, this guy is gonna do this section with a little push mower. This person's gonna come back in with a leaf blower and a gas-powered weed trimmer, and this person's got like this huge ass thing, and that's why I don't think it's really all that organized. But the grass is still wet, my guy. You are gonna have such a mess under that mower. Like, what is this noise? Do not tell me someone is mowing the grass. At this time of night. I mean, it was still light out, but it was cutting it kind of close. It's just like, why? This is weird, right? Okay, gonna slip these next guys into here. as best as I can. Like, I don't really necessarily need these super short ones, but eventually, like, I'm not gonna have choice in the matter, right? Eventually, that's all we're gonna really have left here is these super short guys. Oh, dang it, I didn't. There we go. Let's see. Is that gonna get noticeable? It didn't seem all that more noticeable on that screen, but there I go again, forgetting to focus the camera. I have autofocus turned off because it drives me crazy when the camera is constantly like zooming in and out on the autofocus, trying to figure out what's happening with stuff. And so if I am like needle felting and stuff where my hands are moving a lot, that's gonna get real annoying real fast. So I usually go with the manual focus option. Sorry about that. If you're in the live stream and you think it's fuzzy or slightly out of focus, tell me. After you've made sure it's not your video playback. Because sometimes the video playback can also make it look fuzzy. Depending on the what is it, pixel rating or whatever version that you are on. So I know sometimes if you have it on auto, YouTube just selects the playback version for you. And it's not always the one that looks the best. And I know we're on Twitch right now, I understand that, but for those that might be watching the replay of this, that is who that statement is for. So there was the Planet Zoo announcement this morning. Or at least for us in the States, it was this morning. And I am excited. Planet Zoo 2 is a little pricier than I was expecting. But it's not by that much. And that's if you get the deluxe version. The base wasn't too bad. I mean, base was about what I expected. The base game was actually a little bit cheaper than the husband expected it to be. But husband and I are like, yeah, we're gonna get the deluxe. We haven't pre-ordered it yet, though. And we have a release date for it, which is going to be in October. So we still have a little bit of time to get our pre-order done. But it looks very intriguing. trailer looked great. I'll be excited to see some actual in-game footage. I think that will be interesting. I mean, we were seeing some in-game video from their countdown to the announcement thingy that was going on. That did look pretty good. Alright. So, just kind of coming through here. And trying to add a bit more glue for the next phase. Alright, should I do... Yeah, I guess. So I did start just a smidge early tonight. Mostly because I wanted to see if we could try to get this done. I tried to work on some of the black background on our big embroidery, but I was having trouble concentrating on stuff today, so I was like, meh. It's like, I've got time to work on this. It's not imperative that I get this done right now. And then I was torn between recording some work on Planet Zoo in the background, trying to get some back of the house stuff caught up that I need to work on. But there was no way I would have that out and edited or possibly even done before tomorrow. Oh, no. I need you to go there. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you much. Okay. This guy popped in, and if you pre-twist your paper, and you don't have to, but if you do, there may be times where you need to maybe just give it a little tightly twist if it feels like it's a little bit loose or could be a little bit more compact. Totally an option. It's not like you can only twist it once. Totally, do what you need to do. It's tissue paper. It's not like we're working with like epoxy or anything like that, It's got a little bit of flexibility to it. You're not quite fully committed. You can untwist it and do smooshy balls, or untwist it and just rip off little tiny pieces and smush it in there. Whatever you need to do. Or you can wait to twist it as you were putting it in. I like to have it pre-twisted, and then if the mood strikes me and I decide I need it in like smushed up balls um or little ripped up pieces, I will untwist it because it's faster that way for me personally. But again, you handle it how you want to handle it. Just, treat it like a gremlin and don't get it wet, because if you get it wet with water, it's not gonna be a fun time. It's not gonna go the way that you're hoping for. What's the matter, pupper? Sound like he was trying to cough. I've gotten a hair stuck, or he's rolling around on the bed. I'm not sure which. He seems to have realized his napping partner isn't coming back anytime soon. Okay, now I'm not trying to go down the entire bottom edge there. Okay. But I did want to go just a little bit over the edge there. Hey! That's enough! Ma'am. All he did was getting on the bed. He wasn't bothering you. I don't even know where you are. Scared the crap out of me. He wasn't bothering you. I know he's been full of it today, but you were not his target. He actually managed to snag a guinea pig earlier today through the cage and had a claw in them. I'm glad we clipped the hooks off his nails last night. My mom's like, "Don't you hear these pigs yelling?" I'm like, "They yell all the time. I opened the fridge at the exact moment they yelled. How am I supposed to know there was a problem in here?" We have chicken wire over the cage because the holes are over most of the cage because the holes are big enough to get a cat foot through without it, but there's a couple spots where we didn't have quite enough to cover and we thought we were good, but Mr. Bean has figured out that he can get his feet through those spots and is taking every opportunity, so we had to redo our blanketing situation on the top of the cage. To try to make sure those exposed squares are covered. And they have Heidi's to go in. I was kind of surprised he managed to snag one of them. My mom's giving me shit. I'm like, well, if it's an emergency, then hit your emergency button. Like, I cannot hear you yell in this room across the house. That kind of constitutes as an emergency, especially if you don't know where he's got a hold of them. I mean, I was standing there yelling for Russell in our room. It's on the other side of the wall, and he could not hear me. Okay. So just kind of looking through. Now, if you actually cut all of your paper to a uniform size, you'll have uniform paper twists. I eyeballed it, so I was kind of the school of maybe this looks fine. So I've got all sorts of different sizes. I'm like, it's fine. I don't care that much. It doesn't have to be precisely measured. It's just tissue paper. Like, I don't need it specifically sized or anything. It's all good. But if that is something that's going to bother you, then feel free to measure it all out. And get a more uniform size. Like, to me, the length of it doesn't matter that much. I'm just grabbing the longer pieces here to save me some trouble. Because, I mean, you can cut it to shorten it where you need to, so it's just like, meh. I'm not gonna fuss over it that hard. But if I have a longer piece that is going to help me more here in certain areas, then yeah, I'm gonna go for the longer piece. So, make sure everybody is well seated and smushed in there. And I'm gonna try to get some of this glue off my fingertips, just to make things a little bit easier as I am picking up more pieces of paper. Alrighty. So you can kind of see that the glue is starting to set up just a little bit in my cup here, but that is more than understandable. Because it's kind of been in the cup about 25-ish, 30 minutes now. So we are losing mass as well since I am pulling glue out. Okay. So let's see here. Grab the next round of paper, and this is a new toothpick. Anybody keeping track? This might be toothpick number 5, technically. I think I had to get a new one partially through one of the streams, but I don't fully remember if that actually happened or if that's just a fictitious memory in my brain. Not entirely sure. Alright, so that weird, like, lumpy piece there, we will take care of that one here in just a minute. As soon as I find a piece here that I'm happy with. Alright. I've got this guy. So I probably will need to get a bit more paper out of the bag. Sorry, I feel like I got a fuzzy tapping my face. Could be coming from my glasses. It could be just attached to my face. Bean has been so bad today. He's just been, like, into everything. Like, just ornery guy today. Everything he's not supposed to be getting into. He's been doing it and then looking at us. Like, oh yeah? What you gonna do about this? And I'm like, guy. Seriously. And then he was fighting with me over my chair. He did that to me while I was trying to get him out of my chair. He landmined my hand, so I was trying to grab him. And I wasn't, like, being mean about it either. He loves tummy rubs when he's in the other room. And so I was rubbing his stomach and his chest before I grabbed him to reclaim my seat. And the fucker grabbed onto my hand and started bunny feeding me. And I'm like, yo, yo, yo. What the hell, guy? But the damage was done. He had already gotten me. It wasn't too bad. It felt worse than it ended up being. So I guess there's that consolation prize. If that can be considered one. Alright, I need a little guy here. I didn't want to have to cut somebody, but I might need to. Or I just kind of make it work. You kind of fit. Alright. Get my little glue nub off of there. Okay, now I do have a small amount of glue still in here. Let's see if it's enough to see us through this little bit. Looks like it might be. It's not completely skinned over. Okay. So again, you don't want it super thin, but you don't want it super thick either. Super thick. I mean, there's not like anything inherently bad with it being super thick. It's just gonna be messy. Messier. And you're gonna burn through a lot more glue if it's super, super thick. But you don't want it so thin that you can see your under painting if you did one completely. Like you don't want it like almost clear, because then you're not gonna have any work time. It'll be dry by the time you go to stick the paper in there. And you're gonna be left like, why isn't it taking the paper? And I mean, it happens, right? And if it won't grip your paper, you're just gonna have to put some more glue on. It's really the main solution for that. Okay, I'm just trying to get that bottom edge there. The bottom edge is like the messiest for me. Okay. De-glued the fingers so you can kind of see it's not like completely perfect, but I didn't want to come that far down the edge. I'm going to get some more glue here. So maybe, oh, I don't know, maybe we can do this in one more set. I think I'm gonna pull out a little bit more glue. Not glue, paper. I mean, any paper that we don't end up using can just go right back into its little baggie of holding here. So these were like the snack size Ziploc bags. Okay. And it's just time to add some more glue. And, you know, don't be afraid to overlap the tips there. So, like, if you go like that, that's going to dry way too fast. You want it to be thicker than that. Like, you can have hints of the color kind of peeking through, but, like, you don't need it, like, floating, swimming in the glue. Because that's not gonna get you very far. Now, if you're working on like an edge situation, this glue can be a little runny. It can drip down a side a little bit, but it's pretty good about not being like super runny. Like it's not gonna run like Elmer's or anything like that. Or even like the Mod Podge can run. Mod Podge, excuse me. Okay, so I am actually going to start on this far end here. Because I want to. Okay, again, personal preference on where you start. And if somebody is a little long to fit, you can either kind of get a little bit of glue on them and smush them in, or you can just go ahead and trim it to fit on in there. Kind of depends on what your preference is going to be. Now I know some of these pieces look a little bit shiny in spots in the lights, just where the glue got on the surface. It won't matter when I go to do the Mod Podge. It won't be an issue. And I actually think that's why it looked so odd when I spray sealed it, and why it looked splotchy. And I did give it plenty of time to dry after the fact, see if the splotchiness and color distortion would go away, which it didn't. And I realized that it was because those were the sections where glue, or the tacky glue, like got on the surface of the tissue paper. And there was, the only way to avoid that from happening was to have really super thin amounts of glue on. And that was going to be pretty tough to get that laid in. I'd have to like do like 3 pieces and then more glue, 3 pieces and then more glue, and then that starts getting kind of crazy in an effort to keep the glue off the surface and to keep the splotchy from happening. So at that point I'm like, yeah, we're just not going to do the spray sealer. It's fine. Because I tested it, I believe I tested it, I did Mod Podge and spray sealer together, and then I did Mod Podge, got something spilled all over this desk, and then I tried Mod Podge, no, then I tried it without the Mod Podge, and I had the same results with the spray sealer alone with the Mod Podge. Like, it was definitely the tacky glue that was causing the splotchy. So I was like, okay. So spray sealer is out. And that's fine. I mean, it's not like a huge earth-shattering problem, right? Because the Mod Podge is a sealer in and of itself. You just kind of have to make sure that it's not a waterproof sealer, because it is water-based. So, like, I wouldn't put it out anywhere where it's gonna get wet. Number one, this is tissue paper. Number two, if you use it on something that's not tissue paper, I mean, I know they make some that are dishwasher Mod Podge. I haven't used it. I don't know what the cure time is on that. So, as with all things, I would definitely do a test if you're looking to do something out of the ordinary that you haven't done before, and like just a small amount or a tiny version of what you were looking to do before you go head first or feet first, you know, diving in. Sometimes we need to do those tiny little research mission projects, scout finding missions to see how something may or may not pan out. Is... oh, I don't have it up. Oh, that's weird. Is Kofi Bot's not in the chat. I wonder if I am logged out. Let's do... let's see if that will put Kofi Bot back in the chat. No, it didn't. Ko-fi bot seems to pick and choose when it's gonna participate. I'm not even sure. You know what? I don't think it was running the other night either. Might have to redo my chat permission on it. I'll worry about it later. It's not a big deal. It's not like we really get any donations through Ko-fi anyway. So that's fine. And this guy popped into here. So this might be a little, this is borderline a little bit thin in spots here. Than I normally prefer to go. Now, when I was doing large sections on that big piece I did, had the glue quite a bit thicker, mostly to give me time to make my way back. From doing all of the gluing. So I'm going to take that little bit of tail and just kind of smoosh it down the side there. And that's like the thinnest spot I have is that little section there. This is going to be a bit messy since I'm trying to get this edge worked in here. Okay. So, and then I've got this guy. Now you don't have to take it down the side. That's entirely optional. You can just take it to the flat edge of the canvas if you want. I just have a little tiny bit of overlap there. And I am going to paint the edge of the canvas here before we do our Mod Podge. And we still have to do our foliage on here. So we still have a little ways to go. I'm hoping we have time to get everything done tonight. That would be great, because then as soon as we're done this, we can start our next needle felting project. And I have an idea for that one. Trying to make sure I'm getting the glue worked off my fingers while I'm not hovering over the piece so the little bits don't fall into all the crevices. I mean, it happens sometimes, but I try. to, at the very least, keep that to a minimum. All right. Now it's a little bit thinner over here, so I'm just kind of trying to slip these pieces in, excuse me, into the thinner glue sections first, just to save myself some trouble. Later on, all right, and then we got this guy. So we are actually almost there on this darker purple. Oh, I can't wait to see what this looks like after we get the sealer on top of it. I think it's going to have quite the transformation. Sorry, I'm just trying to get a sweep of the fingers, try to get all the worst of the little remaining glue stuff off. I still have a little bit in the cup, but I think we can get away with adding a bit more here. Set you back off to the side. Okay. It's fine. Glue drips happen. At least it wasn't hot glue and we didn't burn ourselves, right? We got that going for us. Don't be like me, I almost burnt my eyelid while I was making dinner. I had made a little bit of a sauce on my chicken and I went to move the tongs to grab the broccoli out of the pan. So I was letting that reheat for a minute and a little bit of the sauce was still on the tongs. Flung off the tongs, hit me in the face, didn't hit my glasses, but it hit my eyelid. And it might have partially gone in my eye. Got between my eyelid and my glasses. I was like, you're freaking for real right now? Why? This is dumb. Alright. Again, I'm just gonna kind of slide that guy into there. Sometimes you want to go with ones that are a little bit squishier. If your paper is just extra crisp, then you might want to like try to bend a tip of it before you try laying it in the glue. It might help a little bit more. with staying in place there. So I really am pleasantly surprised when I find a soft paper. Because, I mean, you don't know the texture of it until you pull it out of the packaging. Like, not really. And it seems like different colors seem to have different textures going on with them. Sorry, it's important to get the little, like, overflow glue bits off the fingers before we grab the next piece, or else it's going to stick to our finger. Like, not irremovably, not like, we're not using super glue, but it will prefer to stick to your finger than where you're trying to deposit it. Which is why I'm like constantly trying to rub the glue off my fingers. And the toothpick helps, but you still kind of have to like pull the glue or wipe the glue off of the toothpick every so often, because if it gets too much built up on it, then it's gonna want to stick to the paper's gonna want to stick to that instead of stay where you're trying to put it. But it does help keep a lot of the mess off your finger so you're not wearing all of the glue. I promise it would be a lot worse if I didn't have anything at all as a get on in there implement. It does help. You kind of stuck to my finger as I was kind of digging through there, so I guess you're our next volunteer. Okay. Ah, get off my finger. That bit of glue did not want to let go. Again, we're using tacky glue for a reason. It is water soluble. We can wash it off of our hands if it comes to it. We can wet the tissue paper down if we royally messed something up and we need to redo. It's not an ideal situation, but it can be done. Ask me how I know. I have definitely panicked and had to do that before because it just wasn't working out with how I had envisioned it, and I had to change tactics for what I was doing. Like, the tissue paper was behaving fine. It's just the way my brain was trying to put it together. I was trying to force something that didn't feel quite right, and ended up hating how it was coming out. I'm like, yeah, we need to put the brakes on this and fix it while we can. And that was my solution. Not super ideal, but it definitely got the job done. Make sure you take that. Yeah. Okay. Trying to make sure I definitely give myself some work time here. Because I don't really want to short myself here. I mean, I can add more glue. It's not like a huge problem, but I'm just trying to prevent the need to do so. Because we have the bottom edge and the side edge to deal with here. Yeah, I guess Kofi Bot's on vacation. I'm gonna have to redo the chatbot thingy, I guess. Because logging in didn't stick it back in the chat as far as I can tell. Okay. So that corner piece is going to be a little bit tricky, I think. I mean, we can totally do it. I'm just not sure how I want to do it just yet. And I'm trying to make sure that this is just kind of glue seeping up and not a gap there. I mean, if it does turn out to be a gap, we can fix it. Sort of. Fixing it just involves putting a band-aid over the top of it, essentially. Don't mind me, I'm just sticking my hands in the glue. Good job. Sticking my hand in the glue unnecessarily at that. Oh, bother. Alright, it's fine. There are worser things to be. Like, I'm not mad about it, I'm just like, really? I mean, but you know, it's me, right? I gotta make a bigger mess than necessary. Right? Like that's how this works. It's all part of it, right? Making a huge mess. Alright. So this guy kind of slide into there. And then this one. Okay, I'm just trying to definitely make sure we are all seated and not sticking up and deceiving me. so far. So far, pretty good. Now, I'm gonna have those, like, black foliage guys up in here. We just haven't quite gotten there yet. They're coming. We gotta do this part first. Alright, gotta do the background where we can really get in there with the foregroundy bits. Nope. You need to stick, my friend. Ugh, everything's sticking to me and not the canvas, that's the problem. Well, you need to stick there. And not to me. Okay, so that part is probably good enough there. I'm going to try to get some of this glue off my fingers here while I let that kind of think about things for a minute. Okay. Oh, dropped one. Okay, so we need our bag of purple stuff. Did not need nearly the amount of that I thought it was going to. At least for this one, right? It's not like it's gonna go to waste, but... Okay. Alright, while that sets up, because I want to get that a little bit drier before we continue on to the next part, I will be right back. So go grab a snacky, a drink, and we'll get right back to it shortly. Okay, sorry about that. Let's see, how are we looking? Alright, better than before. I stepped away for a minute. Okay, so I need to see this image here. I need to see a bigger version. Okay. Couldn't remember. I couldn't see the tiny one that well. So I couldn't remember how I fully had to do it. I mean, I didn't have to do it this way, but I was beginning to think that maybe I had some black that I was supposed to put in there, but I don't. Alright. So right now, I am going to start our plant life portion. I'm not going super heavy on this, but I do want a visible line here. Now, this part might involve a little bit more glue than maybe you'd expect, right? Because we are working on top of tissue paper that's already present. So since we're already working on top of paper instead of the canvas now directly, there is a textured surface here. It's got little dips and grooves and valleys on it and stuff. So you might end up putting down a little bit more than you expected to need to. Like, I'm not saying make it swim. We don't want to make it swim. Just saying, don't be surprised if you end up using more in this particular stage than you thought you would. Now, I have not had any trouble with this black bleeding. If that concerns you, then I would do like a test piece on like a scrap piece of paper and see if the dye is going to leach out of it. Like I said, I've not necessarily had that problem specifically myself. With any of, oh, I missed one. With any of these shades, but You never know. So I am spacing these out a little bit at the moment. For a reason. I still have to come back and add the little flowery bits, the little grassy dews coming off the stems, little leaves. And I want to make sure I'm giving myself plenty of room to do that. But I also want to give that stem a chance to grip into the glue there. Right? I want to give it a chance to get a good old squeeze on, good huggy in there with that glue before I start adding the leaves or flowery bits or whatever you want to put on there. Creator's choice, right? So while that is setting up, I am going to start to put another guy in place. So that way I'm not just sitting here waiting with nothing to do. So since I'm probably going to have to trim even these smaller bits, well, not necessarily, but I might have to do some trimming. I'm going to try to grab my longer bits here. For my stems and save the shorter ones for the leafy stuff or the flowery stuff, you know. So I don't have anything to push these against, right? Like these are just kind of out here in no man's land on their own. So that's why, another reason why I didn't want a whole lot of glue down. I want enough to grip it, but I'm not going to do like the huge puddles that we just did, right? I want this to have a chance to set up in the glue before I come back. It's okay if it's wiggly and wobbly, that's fine. That's flower or a plant stem or a leaf stem. Whatever you want it to be. It could be corn stalks for all I care. Like, you know, whatever your whatever plant life or whatever you were envisioning this, it doesn't need to be telephone pole straight. Probably better if it's not completely straight, you know? Give it a little more personality. Now, some of these will probably behave a little bit better than others. Fair warning. Now, I'm not sure what I want to do with these guys yet. In the needle felting, I just kind of did like just little leafy guys kind of coming up off the main stem. You know, that's fine. It doesn't have to be super Like, it doesn't have to be super detailed if you don't want it to be. I mean, if you want it to be, then, you know, whatever. Whatever you want to do. Not really sure what my plan is here. I'm just kind of seeing what feels right, what maybe doesn't. What all do I want to do? And make sure you like dab the edge of the side edge of your stem though, just to give more grippy area for your paper to hold on to. This is kind of where you have to kind of envision how it's gonna look until you really start getting those leaves in there. Alright, so not the prettiest bit of glue work, but it'll dry clear. So, not gonna worry. At all about that. We're gonna get that chunk of glue off our finger though. So that guy just kind of felt like he was a good fit there. There's a chance he might not stay put where I just put him, so might have to come back to that one in a minute here. Alright, so grab the gizzards. Get that guy. And we're not going to waste that one that we just kind of trimmed off of there. That would be a shame. We're not going to do that. Now you can kind of try to pre-shape these. If you want. Sometimes it works out a little better than others. Okay, so this guy got a little bit longer and he's kind of already slightly curved, so that will work out in our favor. I'll try to get a slightly curved shape to that one. And I mean, you don't have to fill out exactly to the tip of where you put your glue down. Personal preference. It's not the end of the world. The glue will dry clear. Trim a little bit of that. I mean, you can kind of start to see how it might kind of look as you're getting everybody worked in here. Now, I kind of liked the little like cornstalky kind of leafy guys when I was doing it with the needle felts. So I think that's probably what I'm gonna lean towards the most here. Now, to be clear, this is just the first layer. You can layer this up as many times as you want to. I just had to give myself a little bit of room to work. I'm going to put another one in between these two. But it just wasn't time yet. I'm definitely going to need more glue. Right, because we can't go super thin. So if we go too thin, it's going to absorb into the paper that is already there. And I do have a little bit more paper over here to the side, and if I need to, I can twist some more if it comes to it. So it's not like all hope is lost if we run out of twisted stuff. This one looked like it was drying a little bit faster than I wanted it to, so just pop into there real quick. And sometimes they kind of want to do their own thing even after you've positioned them, so you might have to check back in, make sure it's still connected to the canvas surface. Now I did like over glue a little bit, like it's extending a little bit further out than the paper. That's fine. That's not really anything to worry about, because like I said, the glue is going to dry clear. Not going to be a huge deal. And I have plenty of Mod Podge. Now it is matte, but even the matte Mod Podge does have a slight sheen to it. So don't be too scared of the fact that it says matte. You okay?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to just kind of work in the next stocky boy here. Oh my goodness, who is snorting over there? Was that Snorty Snuffles? Or was that a cat? With the snezzes and the snorts and all that.
That was the Snuffles, I think.
Oh, Snuffles. A Snuffleuffles, you say? So I'm gonna get the... I'm gonna do two stemmy guys here. Now I might have put them a little close to one another, but that's okay. We will figure it out. It's not a huge deal. Oh my goodness, we are covering up all this work that we've done. Yes, yes, we are. We're not completely hiding it from view, though. And that does make a difference. It will still be there in the background. Kind of shining through our plant life here. Okay, let's see. What do we got here? I need some stocky guys. You look like a good stocky guy. So for the stocky bits, you kind of want these edges, you want it to be end to end. Don't be afraid to overlap them a little bit. I suppose if you do have a gap, it's not the end of the world. You can just kind of make that like where a leaf ends up coming out, or a flower or something, to cover up a teeny tiny gap if it comes to it. Like, I know right now we're still a little bit in the messy phase. Perfect. But that's okay. There's gonna be messy phases. Especially while the glue's wet. It's gonna be like, what is this? But it's definitely a trust the process kind of thing. Even when you're really scared, it's like, I don't know, man. And you also have to remember it's tissue paper. It's gonna be a little rough. It's gonna be a little wonky. It's all part of it. It's fine. We're all good. There is no reason to panic. Whatsoever. Okay, so while those are thinking about sticking, I am going to come back in with my glue. Back in between these two bozos over here. I just had like a loose little flap of paper off of that one paper twist, so I was just kind of re-securing it with a little bit of glue under it and then a little bit of glue on top. That's all we had to do. And then I'm just adding this stem, stalk, whatever you want it to be, kind of in between these guys. Now I probably won't go all the way up to there. I mean, I could, but it's alright. So I'll do that one there. And then we'll set up for another guy over here. So I am going a little bit thicker. Just to make sure it doesn't dry on me before I get the other guys over here. And I am trying to variate height a little bit. So that way we're not all the same size. Okay. And then I'm just gonna start grabbing stocky bits. Mostly the longer pieces. I mean, you can still use the shorter pieces if you have size differences on your stocks. Like, that's fine. I mean, it'll all paper the same way eventually anyway. I'm just saving my shorter bits for my leafy bits. And I'm not being afraid to trim where I think I need a trim. Okay, now let's get some of the glue off my finger there. That guy's a little bit of a thinner one. Guess I'll stick him at the top there. And we'll get this guy. Sorry for the creaky noises. It is my keyboard tray. It's just gonna happen. There's not a whole lot I can do with it. I know what's making it creak, and there's really nothing I can do. So it's either just deal with the creaking or sit awkwardly and really terribly uncomfortably, and I'll just deal with the creaking. Okay. So that's gonna hang out there. Okay. So like I said, it'll start to look a little bit less messy as that glue starts to dry. I feel bad because I keep stopping to put glue in the container. See, this guy doesn't want to quite sit all the way. So I was saying sometimes you might have to come back and revisit. Now, I'm not sure if we're technically, in fact, using more glue than we were on the flat bits, but I might have also just not been putting as much glue down. You know, to pull from. We'll get that bit in there. Oh my goodness, Mr. Tappy Feet. I hate to tell you this, bud, but you've got no stealth capabilities whatsoever. Your brother, on the other hand, was a damn ninja. Or potentially a ballerina in another life. we had to put a pet gate in the kitchen because that bastard, before noise canceling headphones were really a common thing and we didn't have them, he would slip out of the bedroom on us and all of a sudden I'd be like, "Where's the dog?" And we'd find him picking through the trash can in the kitchen. Hi, what's up? Welcome to the complaints department. How may I help you? Is there something that I can do for you, or are you just going to sit there and stare at me awkwardly?
Guessing stare at you awkwardly?
Are you hungry? It's that time of night. Did you realize snack rolls hadn't happened yet? Because I'm pretty sure you heard Mr. Man's alarm go off. Which is about when you used to get snack rolls.
They forgot.
Well, I thought he was asleep. Silly me. Silly me. Alright, well, your complaint has been noted. A ticket has been opened and it has been sent on to the appropriate place. Alright. See, it's getting a little more life to it here. I was originally going to put it there, but I was like, you know what? I think there might be better. And you know, you don't have to save the shorter ones for the leaves if you have different sized ones. Sometimes the larger ones are just gonna work out better. Yes, hi. Yes, I made a ticket. I submitted that ticket to the next department.
No, I get
What
it.
you need to do now, well, he came back. What you need to do now is go have a seat and wait for your ticket number to be called. Okay? All right? The kitchen has received your request.
Oh. All right. Hi. Excuse me.
Who's in your way?
Beep beep dial up.
Oh, Snuffles, move! Snuffles, move! Because you know if you go to step over her, she freaks out. And then she panics and, like, runs under your feet. It's like, ma'am, of all the things I needed you to do, that was not it. Now you can do a single layer if you so choose. Or you can do multiple layers. That is just going to depend on you and your patience level, really. panicked a little. I thought I was about to spill the water cup, and then I realized, no, it's the glue cup. It's okay if that falls over. It's not like water where it's gonna go rushing out. And then in my struggle there, I almost did end up spilling the water. We didn't though, but okay. Oh, okay. So we will get that guy worked into there. And then this guy. So like if you wanted, you could do like another one here. Again, it really comes down to you. How much time you have to devote to the project and all that, right? I need, I don't know if this is gonna be too small. It might be. Potentially. Okay. I am using more black than I thought I was going to. I mean, I still have some. So it's not like time to start twisting paper, but we've definitely gone through a little bit more than I had expected to. Some colors are like that. Like, I don't know why my brain thought I was gonna need quite that much of the dark purple when I barely put a dent into it. I'm trying to make sure that I've got enough glue in here, so I might be using a little bit more than I necessarily need, but like I said, we've got all those little grooves and valleys in there, and just trying to make sure that we are good. That one just does not want to stay down. Like, at all. It's not reading the room. So the most I'm really comfortable with putting stem or stalkwise down is going to be 2 at a time. Okay. Alrighty, so let's find some more. Hi, hi, hi. Why are we getting mad? Come on now. Is bean in your food? Y'all would decide to start the second I put glue down. Do I need to remove the bean? Bean, you stay out of their food. I'm sure you got some kind of treat. You normally do. They're not normally pissy about their food bowls unless it's something that they really don't want to share. Any other time, the cats are like trying to push their way in. The cats have food. They just want the dog's food instead. So I'm probably gonna need to do, or end up doing, yeah, probably do another stem here, and probably one more out here on this outer edge. And I will probably do that before I end up doing the next round of leaves. And if the leaves overlap, then they end up overlapping each other. Like, not a huge deal. Oh, that's an awkward size. However, yay, short piece to the rescue. I mean, I could have just made a short piece if it came to it. Oh, got all these little bits of glue everywhere. All over my keyboard tray, my wrist rest, my shirt, my lap, my chair. I am also a big advocate for wearing clothing that's stained or got holes in it, or it's like one of those shirts that you just don't want to give up, but you can't really wear out in public anymore. It's not the end of the world if it gets glue or paint or something on it. Right? Because you never know. Especially with me. I never know. Is today gonna be the day that I'm just gonna just touch something that's gonna create an absolute disaster and ruin a shirt that, well, can't wear that shirt out in public anymore. I did that with a cheap tank top, I would like I had to paint a room. And I was like talking myself into wearing this tank top, and I'm like, what if I get paint on it and then I'm not gonna be able to wear it out? And then I'm like, girl, you have multiple of this type of tank top. It is like a bajillion degrees in the room that you need to paint. Wear the tank top. And it wasn't like it was a newer tank top to me. I hadn't worn it that many times yet. I mean, it was nothing fancy. It was just, basic solid color tank top. But apparently the whole time I'm wearing it, I kept looking at it and looking down, and I'm like, I did not remember this being this low cut in the front. Am I crazy? Is it just this low cut? And then I think the husband saw my shirt. And I think he noticed it. And then I looked down and realized I could see the stamped printed tag on it. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? And that was after I had gotten the wall paint on the front of it. I was like, of course I did. I ended up getting another of that tank top of the same color. So now I have to be careful to make sure that, okay, this is the one for around the house. And this is the one for out in public. Alright, let's see here. Grab our last stocky bits, and I thought you weren't gonna do them till after you did the other leaves. Yeah, well, I changed my mind. Not a huge deal to me. Sometimes it can be a little bit easier. You're fine, buddy. It's just somebody's car stereo. That I can still hear and feel, even though they've already driven by. Really not a fan of the way sound travels around this area. Oh my goodness, my leggies are angry. So my one leg wants to be stretched out a specific way, and it can't be because of a certain chaos goblin. And the fact that I had to put foam board up to keep him from trying to get into spots under my desk. Bean, are you doing something? There was like a weird like thumpy noises, and I didn't know what the noise was.
Looks like Ed and Mr. Beans are facing off somehow.
Of course they are. Suzu got mad, I think, at Mr. Bean trying to get into his bowl after you walked away. Okay, so those guys are kind of chilling there. Making sure everybody's where they're supposed to be. So, I mean, it's definitely added another layer to this with the plant life coming into here. And it's starting to look a little bit better now that that bit of glue is drying. And is turning clear. And you can add as many leafy bits on here, or flowers, or whatever you want to do as you want. I'm trying not to go too crazy, so we can still see the background to a degree. Like, I don't want to completely smother all that work that we did. But that is just more personal preference than anything. Why are you mowing? Where are you at anyway? I hear you. I don't know that I see you. Alright, so the tips on those ones didn't quite fill the entire glue slot, but that's okay. Like, they were a little long. Sorry, they went over the glue slot. And that's fine. Like, not a huge deal. It will all be firmly held in place eventually here. Like I said, we just kind of have to keep working through to get to that point. And we're getting there. What are you? Where are you? I can hear you doing something. And I don't know who it is. I feel like you're under my desk. But I can't see you. And you're making me nervous because I don't know if you're in wires or not. P-Butt, are you under the table my tower's on? Where you know you're not supposed to be? And I don't think it's in Bean. I don't think it's Bean that's in trouble this time. Bean's not the only one that gets into trouble. I know it's shocking. P-Butt gets in his fair share of troubles too. He likes to pretend he's all innocent though. We know better. Boy, do we know better. I will end up needing to get a little bit more glue here. In order to be able to finish putting leaves on, but still have enough workable in here at the moment. I feel like. I think I almost want to add a stalk or a leaf there. Not necessarily a stalk, but I feel like I've got that a little more spaced out than it necessarily needed to be. Maybe one more there. All right, we'll see how I feel about that. I was like, oh yeah, we'll have enough time to finish this up. And now I'm like, oh, I don't know if we're gonna have enough time to finish this up. Because I still want to get the edge painted before we do the Mod Podge, which is why we are doing the gluing first before we do the painting. So this has time to settle in. Yeah, so that one's definitely going to overlap this guy a little bit. Like, that's just the way that's going to end up being. Providing we can get everybody to cooperate here. And that's a whole nother thing in and of itself. Okay, so we'll get you popped into there. So I might try to get some more stuff done in the background on our children's zoo, where I'll record it and just have to edit it and add it back in to the playlist later. As I get editing time. I'm not a fool. I don't think I can finish that zoo in its entirety before 2 comes out, in which case I will work on that and record it and then post like the speed builds of it. Or I don't even have to do it as a speed build. I can just do like a shorter session if it comes to it. Okay. So I mean, that's not so bad. Alright. I would like a little bit more glue. We've got a couple more. 1, 2, 3. We've got 4 more. Stock friends here. In need of some leafery. Alrighty. So I'm gonna go to this guy next. So that way this other one I can overlap between these two. And that might make things a little bit easier, potentially. Potentially. Okay, and this guy. will take up to here. Alright, so I'm only gonna like really glue the leaves out one at a time here. I mean, I made the exception to this other guy, but I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. If I can help it. Alright, so after we get this guy sorted, I will probably do the far one here. On the edge. Just to make sure that I can push him back a little bit. I feel like the wonky, funny shapes can work in your favor, especially when you're doing like leaves and stuff, because then they're kind of just doing their own thing here. All right. So let's get this guy on the edge here. Or at least we're gonna try to. Let's see how cooperative it ends up being. All right. It looks pretty similar to the needle felted version that we made. You guys will have to let me know which one you like better. This one or the needle felted one. Either let me know in the YouTube comments, or you can always let me know on Blue Sky. Okay. That cleaned up there. I think I might need just a little bit more glue. in order to finish this guy off. I've got a little bit left that wants to be cooperative in that cup. I just don't know if I have quite enough. Because I do have to kind of drizzle, not really drizzle, but I'm not being super reserved with the amount that I am leaving behind. Right, like I am just kind of letting it have the amount that the canvas wants to take to make sure I've got enough to hold everybody in place here. Alright, so I've got, I don't know, I've been liking pulling from the side right now, so that's what I'm gonna do. Alright, yeah, just a little bit more. Doesn't have to be a whole lot. We've got 2 stemmies left. Okay. So I am going to jump over to this guy. That'll give the other one a chance to start to grab the surface and get settled in. I probably put way too much out in the cup this time. That's alright. It happens. See, it's not always gonna like overlap leaves, but it might sometimes. Alright, you can kind of go that way. Like in here at the bottom, it's going to. Okay, So let me rinse that. I don't want the last stalk to dry before I get there. Like if I put the glue down before I am really ready for it. So that guy. I mean, you can definitely see how it's coming to life there on the side that the glue is drying on. Alright, so we just kind of have to give it a chance to do its thing. As hard as that is, we definitely kind of just have to let the glue dry. And wait to see what is revealed to us at that stage. I've got the slightest amount of glue on my finger. Like everything is trying to grip to it. Alright, so this guy, I'm gonna kind of overlap there. And this guy. I'm just trying to get it mostly stuck in. The Mod Podge will take care of anything else that's not like completely attached, because it'll get into the paper, it'll soak in, and it'll do its magic. Alright, so we got one more stemmy guy here. I've got to try to get this glue buildup off of the tip of my finger. Just to make this next part a little bit less sticky. Alright, so we got one more of these guys to go here. In theory. Now, I think I want to add one more, well, maybe two more over here. Gotta make sure I add enough where I should have enough working time to get back over to it with a bit of luck. Alright. That in there. Like, the glue doesn't have to be strictly pristine and perfect in its placement. It can be a little bit wider than maybe you had planned on it being. It's fine. It won't be a big problem. This glue in the dredges of my cup here is very thick, which is the older stuff that was trying to get a skin on it there. Alright, let me rinse-a-roo. Alright. And I'm just gonna quick drop those guys over into there. Okay. Yeah, that looks a little better. Because these guys I ended up doing a bit fuller. So it felt like it needed a little bit more, at least on that one, right? Like, they don't have to all be the same fullness, but that's what I ended up doing. So then having a couple that weren't quite as full, you know, started bugging me, as it does. As it very much does. So let's see. We got your you're a big guy. Alright. Now let's get you. Let you think about attaching into there. I've got glue all over this one hand here. Mr. Left, you are a mess. We're gonna have to do something about that before we move on to the next stage here. You smooshed into there. Alright, do I have not really. Alright. Like, I could try. Get you to cooperate. Just don't know how well you're going to follow directions. Okay. So we're gonna give that a minute. I am going to see about scraping the glue off of my fingers here for a second, as best as I can. So while that is doing its thing here, let me see about. Oh wait, no, that's not what I want. I wanted that one. Image. I think I'm on this one. It should be. Yeah, I know. It says it's verified. We are currently having trouble authorizing your account with YouTube. I don't know that I can do that. Alright, let's not. Pokebot might just not be having a good night. I'm gonna have to look into that further. I'm still scraping the glue off of my hands, so we've got a fair bit on there. Okay, that should be. It's not great, but it's better than it was. Okay, so let me have my little. Wait, no, nope, false alarm. Okay, there we go. Felt a larger chunk start to decide it would let go there. Okay, so I'm gonna put the black tissue paper back into its bag of holding. Okay. So, now, gonna put you up there. Next, while that is drying, I am going to grab one of these and I guess this. So I am going to fill that with probably more black paint than I think I need, and then be completely mystified when I end up needing more. Alright, so I am going to come in and just kind of clean up the bottom edge here, and yeah, you'll probably get a little bit of the paint on said tissue paper. Oh wow, I pulled out way too much. Well, for shizzle. Alright. It won't be the first time. I am sure. That's okay. I did get another piece. I got another container of black paint. For the name canvas, just to make sure I had enough. So I will probably save that specific bottle for that, because I don't trust black to be the same shade across brands, especially when it's not like a generic black. Like this is like lamp black, and I'm like, we couldn't have just a basic black. Nope, guess not. Okay, so I am kind of glad I went with this flat brush. It's making doing this edge a lot easier, because apparently I wasn't as careful. On my edging on this side as I was on the other side. And knowing me, I will probably try to end up pouring what I didn't use back into the container. Okay. Now, this is where it might get a little tricky. I need to put the fan on so that that can start drying. The paint, that is. I'm holding it up so I don't accidentally get it in any glue little bits that might still be straggling around on the desk here. It's not super happy about that angle. Of course, any other time I try to get a good layer of black on something, it just doesn't want to spread smoothly and cleanly, and it's taking so many coats. And for some reason, this time, it's like, oh, you poured a bunch of this out? Alright, we'll make sure it goes oh so far. it's getting there. Like, it's not a super thick amount of paint. I don't want it to be a super thick amount. I'm just trying to get the edge cleaned up. And trying to get this edge as evenly covered as I can without having a complete disaster happen. We are doing our damnedest to be careful. Okay. Just about there. Alright. Okay, that looks pretty good. Alright, this bottom edge to me is fairly dry. I need a cup. You can go there for a second. You're almost dry there. You still... The other two sides definitely have a ways to go. Alright, so while that is thinking about drying, I'm gonna pour quite a lot of this back into the bottle here. That we didn't end up using. Oh, that's quite a bit. That was a pretty hefty amount there. Next time I'll just like pull it from the bottle, I think. I wasn't sure how far down it was in the bottle. It's like I didn't want the entirety of the handle getting saturated in paint. Okay, so there's that. I need a new cup of water here. So that we can rinse. My poor mug. And that is why I don't like wearing good clothes either when I am painting. Because I tend to make a ginormous mess. Fortunately, that splashed me. And the desk. And nothing else. Okay. You can go back into your bucket. Okay. How we doing here? You're looking pretty good. You're almost there. Alright, I'm gonna hold that up into the fan. I don't feel like pulling out my heat tool for this, so it takes a while to cool down before I can put it away. Like, I just need that little bit on there to not be noticeably wet. Right? It's almost there. I was gonna dab it, but then it might pull a bunch of it off and then I'll be mad. And then I'll have to fix it, so I just need to be patient. Which I'm not good at doing at times. I will say that. Just like why I don't understand where my Kofi bot. Right, that was a test. That's fine. But what about the chatbot to begin? Oh! They added increments. Unless it was always there. And your chatbot will share links when someone uses these commands. Timed messages in chat. Maybe I have to reconnect it. It's saying disconnect. Maybe the bot was just down. It's still not in chat. I don't know, man. Maybe they just changed something on it. Maybe it was there. And it just didn't look like it. Which is possible. Okay, that is almost there. Like, I've got a little bit of tissue paper right there. That was a little bit wet. Okay, so the top is still not quite dry, but I don't think it's really going to matter completely for this step. So I need out this one. I mean, it doesn't really matter that much. Alright, so I am going to grab... Oh, hey, we got it open. So this is a jar of Mod Podge Matte. So I'm going to carefully dip in here. And I'm going to start applying this in. And I don't want to be like super stingy with it, but you know, you also don't want to go too crazy right off the bat. You can do multiple coats if you so choose, but you do definitely want to give those coats time to completely dry in between. You kind of have to work a little bit quickly. So, like I had said when we first started, you could use this as your main base glue, but do you see how liquidy it is? Like, that would definitely require super thin coats in small sections, like smaller than what we were working. See down here, it's already starting to dry. You can literally watch this stuff dry fairly quickly in real time. And that's why I was saying, if you are concerned about if any of the dye used on your paper might run, you might want to test it with your glue and the Mod Podge, excuse me. On a separate little piece of paper or something first. Before you jump in, just because of how liquidy this is. Okay. I am going to just kind of do a thin kind of brush down the edge here. You can do that at the very end if you really want to. Like if you want to wait till the end. afraid of sticking it into something, but I'm hoping that this end at least will be starting to dry as I work my way across. Now, you do want to be careful along your edges, because if it has like drips or runs down the edge and you don't like smooth it out, it might dry like that. Like with the drip showing. If you don't care about that, then you know, it's whatever. Okay. So I am just carefully working this in. And if you have like a piece that's being a little stubborn, you can take a little bit of extra Mod Podge and brush it on in just a way to kind of maybe convince it to stick a certain way. I mean, you know, a lot of people use this for decoupaging. It's I think what it was first really used for. So it has the power. And you can tell, kind of, like, even though this says it's matte, it doesn't look it. Like, there is a bit of a sheen trying to form in there. Now, the big project I did use gloss on that one. And it is a bit shinier. You can see the difference between the two, but if you hadn't seen the gloss version, this is kind of shiny by comparison. I mean, by not comparison, like it would look maybe like a semi. Now you might use a fair bit of this, especially if you are being super generous with it and trying to get into all the crevices. So make sure you've got enough. There is nothing worse than being partway through something and then realizing way too late that you don't have enough to finish it that night, especially if you need it done like pronto. But it will take several hours to fully dry. Like, the top might look dry, but you know, it is tissue paper, it is getting wet, with the Mod Podge, so you're gonna want to make sure you give it adequate dry time. I think some of these Mod Podges, depending on which ones they're for, like what they're supposed to do for you. Some of them, I think I've read, can take like 45 days to fully cure. I'm not sure if that was like the dishwashery one or like the glass one that I was reading. And that was like without this massive layer. So make sure you read your dry times on there and you give yourself enough time for it to fully dry before you start handling it. Hardcore this. I guess it would depend on humidity and how hot it is. I mean, it'll probably look dry within a few hours, maybe a week. To be like good and sure. I had some tiny glumps. I guess we'll call them glumps. On the edge of my big one, where it looked like little tiny chunks of the Mod Podge had come off the brush that I didn't realize were there until it was too late and they were already stuck on the edge. Those took a couple of months to completely go clear. I mean, they felt dry, but they looked cloudy for a little while. It was on the edge and I wasn't selling it, so I wasn't that concerned. I was bummed for a bit, but I do believe they have long since gone white, so, or clear, excuse me. But of course, that was also like 2 coats, or just about 2 full coats. It was like 1 heavy coat, and then it was a lighter second pass because I was starting to run out. I was like, oh yeah, I can do a second coat, and then I got about 2/3 of the way through on the second coat. I was like, oh, I don't have enough to do the full thing in a second coat, so then I just kind of tried to get the second coat in where I could on the front surface. Now, if you start to get a lot of Mod Podge buildup in your brush, and you want to rinse your brush, you're gonna want a second brush. You don't want to run the risk of your brush still being wet and not being dried thoroughly before you go back in with your special stuff here. And so that's fine if you feel you need to grab a fresh brush if you think it's starting to dry or get weird in that one that you're currently using. Fine. I mean, it happens, right? do suggest that you wait until that first layer is really dry before going back over it, because it can leave some brushy marks. I don't know if it has a tendency to get cloudy. Not necessarily had that experience, but it can get the brush strokes in there. And that is one thing that drives me crazy when I see that happen on stuff I've done. I'm like, how dare they? Alright, just getting this edge here. As best as I can. I'm probably gonna have Mod Podge halfway up my arm here. I could set it on the table. Probably should have had my little triangles out. My little drying kickstands. But I forgot to pull them out. Now, it's not like it's 100% necessary. Now, I suppose you could use a foam brush with this. I hesitate though. You're gonna want to test that because the foam brush can really soak up a lot of your Mod Podge, and then as you're putting it down, it can come out in bubbles. Like it can be a little bit foamy like. And I don't want the bubbles to stay there and dry like that on you. So that is something to consider. You might want to have a separate brush on hand that you keep just for Mod Podge. Kind of like how I have some glue brushes, right? Because it is a glue in there and a sealer. It kind of is a jack of all trades here. So if you have some sections where you've got some overlappage happening there, just, you know, do your best to try to get it to get down in those crevices. So you might need to use a little bit more so it kind of drips down in there within reason. Like, don't pour the whole bottle out there. That would probably be a little bit excessive and going a bit overboard. I have one last side I have to do as well, is finishing the top. We're about, what, 2/3 of the way across the top here. Like, you can really see the difference between the sealed section already and the non-sealed purple. Like, there's definitely a shade difference there. It has this bit of a pop of color there. Look at that. Did you get the coffee already?
Yes.
Do I need to stop now?
No.
Okay. We are slowly but surely marching across the surface here. Of course, now he's good. He ran out of energy for the day. Last half of the day here, Mr. Bean's just been chilling. He has been so ornery today. I think he just wanted to wrestle with somebody. Because he kept purposely getting into trouble and then coming over to me to see what I was going to do about it. He was good every time he got in my chair. I think he just wanted my chair. I'm like, buddy, I need to sit there. Why don't you sit in Daddy's chair? It's wide open. Nope. That's not good enough. I guess he likes the smell of my ass. I don't know, or maybe my chair was just warm from me sitting in it. Any of that is a possibility. Trying to like, scrape off the drippy bits here so I don't drag it all over the place, while trying not to get too much of it on that upper rim so I don't glue the bottle shut. I've done that accidentally with like gesso and liquid white with the Bob Ross stuff, where it just like sealed itself shut because the edge leaked or something. It's like, oh, you've got to be kidding me. I will need to make sure I wipe that edge down. All of that worked in there. Gosh, this is gonna be like partially dry by the time we get there. But we have, the husband's taken Mr. Bean to bed for the night. Because the second we lay down, He's like, oh, it's open season on all of the things. He won't just like lay down and sleep with us. So he starts jumping all over my desk, knocking everything over, trying to eat everything on my desk, and then he's on his desk trying to destroy his Legos. He has a Lego bamboo plant and the fall the Japanese maple bonsai thing. We both have that one. I don't think he's realized that I have one too because of where mine is sitting. But I had to confiscate a couple of the husband's wood carvings, the tiny ones, off of his desk because Bean kept trying to run away with them. So I had to put them up high where Bean can't get to them and hasn't figured out that they are there. He was a very chatty boy this morning. Kept following me around and meowing at me. So what is he watching tonight?
Tonight he has Food Network channel. Good Eats currently running.
So what, does that TV just go to screensaver mode?
After a certain point, yes. I do have the light off for him because he's used to sleeping at night in the dark in there. So if TV's on, he's got enough light. He's good.
Okay.
I feel really bad, but I can't get up to deal with him when my back's fucked up. So.
No, you're fine. Oh, one of the pinks is bleeding here. That's not good. I thought I saw a hint. I bet you it's this pink. That one. Because that one I did not use in the tissue paper project with the flamingos.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, so I'm like, why am I seeing little tiny hints of pink? So that one is bleeding. I was more worried about the black bleeding. I didn't think any of the other colors were going to. It's not like a terrible problem, but I just noticed it on my brush. I don't see any major evidence of that being hugely problematic anywhere yet. So we might be okay. There. Get that. Okay. Alrighty. So now it just has to dry for however long that's gonna take. So that could take anywhere from like a half an hour to a couple of hours for it to dry enough for all of the white to go away. So I will have to post a finish photo in the morning. Right now I'm just trying to get the Mod Podge out of my brush here without making a huge mess. right? Because while this can be the Mod Podge brush, I kind of need to get all of the Mod Podge out in order to be able to use it again. So oh right, I was gonna shit. I was gonna wipe the top of that lid off. Alright, I'm just kind of drying that off into the brush bucket with the U2. Into the brush bucket. Alright, let me. Oh no. I was gonna say that was fast. Got glue on the desk. Of course we do. Alright, so I'm just gonna do a quick wipey wipe here of the edge. Like, I almost want that to dry now before I put the lid back on. Just to make sure I don't glue it shut. Because that's gonna suck. I don't really have another container I can put it in, and it's probably gonna be a while until I need more of it. So, I mean, I used a little bit for sure. I mean, I could pull off that little bit of oil on the edge, but that might be what gets me out of a dilemma later. Alright, let me get that bit of glue. Okay, so next week for arts and crafts, we will be working on a new needle felting. We're going to do the same size that we did last time. Same sort of idea, except I'm going to like try to flip it this way. I might need to put a new hole in the back of it to add my string to, but I'll worry about that over the weekend. So thank you guys for joining me tonight. Tomorrow we will be back with some Planet Zoo 1, working on the staff area. No. Well, do we want to finish that stuff in front of... Yeah, we'll put the finishing touches on the second boat ride station. We need to add the bathroom out in front, and we need to add the wagon / stroller parking, and do a landscaping pass out in front of it. Then, if I have time, we will move on to the staff area back behind where the deer are going to go in. And the deer's... I don't know if I'm gonna get to the deer's habitat tomorrow though, because we've got a bit of stuff to do there. That feels a little extra ambitious. That's like a 6-hour stream there, and we don't normally go that long. So yeah, we'll see where things take us tomorrow. Hopefully I can get Kofebot resituated. So everybody enjoy your Friday. Don't forget to follow the socially links down below. Those will take you to the Ko-fi, the Blue Sky, and the YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. It's where all of the live streams get archived, usually on their own playlist. And I also post stuff that we didn't live stream, such as different art projects or gameplay of other games that I just didn't have time to stream but was able to squeeze in some recordings. And I will post a final all done dry picture of this thing in the morning on Blue Sky. So you guys have a good night, and until next time.